Yo, how's it going everybody? It's your boy Frame1 back with another reaction for you guys, and in today's video we are going to be checking out The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening Dunkview by our boy videogamedunkey. And it's been a little bit since we've actually checked out one of Dunkey's videos, so I am excited for this one, especially because it's about Zelda, one of my favorite video game franchises, if not my favorite of all time. So this one's gonna be great. I hope, I imagine, and I'm sure it will be. It's Dunkey, you know what I'm saying? How could it not be? Before we start, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who's been leaving comments, recommending videos that you guys want me to check out. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. You guys are dope. I got some more heat on the way, so be on the lookout for that stuff, guys. With that being said, though, let's just jump into this thing. We got Dunkey, we got Zelda. What more could you ask for? Oh, we're doing the old one. Old Link's Awakening. I've only played the new one. Oh no, we're doing the new one.
Among Zelda games, Link's Awakening is one of the true bizarro oddities.
I actually have played this game. I played it when it first came out on the Nintendo Switch. I guess it was in 2019 based on that the little time stamp at the bottom of the start screen there. This game was really fun and I felt like it was pretty easy overall, but it was a great game. I never really played a 2D Zelda before, and I say it's 2D because clearly this looks 3D now, but I know it was 2D when it first came out, and that's what this game is based on, so yeah, this game was great.
There is no Hyrule, no Triforce,
Yeah, there isn't
no
Hyrule.
Master Sword. In fact, there are no puzzles or dungeons either.
What? No, there are puzzles and dungeons. That's literally the first dungeon of the game that he's looking at right there. Wait, what is Dunkey talking about? I was also going to say, I'm pretty sure there was a Master Sword in this game, wasn't there? I thought once you collected enough of the seashells or the conches, or I forget exactly what they were, and you brought them to that one house, you would end up powering up your Master Sword, or you're powering up your sword to become the Master Sword, I thought. Maybe that wasn't the official title of the weapon, though.
At least that's how the game was for me when I was 10. I don't think I even made it.
Oh, I see. I see what he's saying now.
So for me, the gameplay was mowing grass and hitting goblins in the forest.
Every Zelda game is mowing grass.
20 years later, I understood why I never beat this game. Because some of this shit does not make sense. There is an owl that tells you what to do. There are owls.
No, okay, I agree that I remember specifically I said this game was pretty easy. There was one dungeon, and I'm pretty sure it was towards the start of the game. It was either the second or the third dungeon, I believe, where you had to talk to actually this thing right here, like one of these owls that you'd put the beak on and he would give you a clue. And one of the rooms, you had to kill these 3 enemies in a specific order, but the clue was just so vague, I could not figure it out for the life of me. Maybe I'm an idiot. Let me know if you guys had the same troubles as I did, but this was the only point in the game I actually had to Google something, and like, I required third-party assistance.
Statues that tell you what to do. There are hint houses spread all over the map, and even with all this stuff telling you how to beat the game, you're probably gonna get stuck somewhere.
Yeah, that's where I got stuck.
Of the old school Zelda formula. You have this vast, expansive map to explore, but often only one very specific way to progress the game.
Yeah, that's true. I guess it was the same for Ocarina of Time as well, because it was a open world game where you only had one linear direction that you could actually go to progress the story, so I guess that does make sense. This game, though, I felt like wasn't that complex. I feel like as long as you just explored long enough, I guess it's kind of like trial and error. As long as you explored every inch of the map, you would end up figuring out where to go. The puzzles weren't too confusing, I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
Just like Metroid, it is easy to miss one subtle cue and spend 30 minutes wandering in circles.
I'll agree. I agree with that.
People who love these games have played them
What?
so many times.
I did not know you could lift up the merchant. How did I never try that?
The most on the third playthrough. Above all else, it's the
third play. Bro, Dunkey is such a hardcore gamer. It's like he played Elden Ring like 5 times in the first 2 weeks. Nuts.
That makes it so special, and one of the weirdest things about it is how smooth the game plays. You compare
it's beautiful.
Mario World to Super Mario Land 2 on the Game Boy. In terms of gameplay, they aren't even close, baby. Super Mario World is way more precise and smoother to control, with so many more power-ups and mechanical flourishes. Typically, Super Nintendo games had better graphics and smoother controls than their Game Boy counterparts.
Naturally,
However,
more powerful system.
Link's Awakening plays more like a sequel to A Link to the Past, and that's because it was developed by the same team 2 years later.
Never played A Link to the Past, actually.
Link is like a fucking pinball. If you get hit, you get bounced. If you hit an enemy, you get bounced. Look at this thing in the middle. Guess what that does? It bounces.
Bounces you.
Now combine that with dungeons littered with holes in the ground, spike traps, conveyor belts, and ice-covered
This looks frustrating.
floors. Link's Awakening incorporates all of the fun power-ups and twists from the Super Nintendo game into a more polished package, using smart design choices to make Link stronger, more stable, and more agile, all while operating under much heavier hardware constraints. On the Game Boy, this was a technical marvel.
Right.
But for me, it's the Switch.
It's crazy when you look at the side-by-side, I guess not side-by-side, but when you see the old footage of the original Link's Awakening compared to the footage of this, like, this is gorgeous.
Where it really sings.
I guess because I never played the original one, I didn't really have that to compare, but seeing it in this video, it's incredible.
2D Zeldas have always been more focused and tighter paced than the 3D titles, but the remaster takes the most compact Zelda and squeezes it into a tiny, glossy gem.
It's just so well polished.
Every step you take feels like 10, and soaring across the map with your hookshot is pure
satisfying.
magic. Once you've been indoctrinated by
Okay,
goofy ass video,
this was a boss that was confusing for me. He just did a spin attack that did damage, but I feel like when I did this fight, I thought you had to use bombs or something, or I tried attacking him and I didn't do any damage, and I didn't realize the spin attack would work. I forget what I did to overcome this. I feel like I had to leave and go get bombs and come back or something like that.
Game logic of Zelda.
This guy was an asshole, though.
The most replayable game in the series, but it's not the gameplay that made me fall in love with this game.
Most replayable game in the series. I feel like Breath of the Wild probably has that. Just based on the vastness of the game alone. When I played Breath of the Wild the first time, I kind of didn't explore the world like I should have. I did the main objectives, and then I went and killed Ganon. And the second time around is when I really explored and went through like every single shrine. Maybe I wouldn't want to do that again, though. So I see what he's saying.
Story. Zelda Link's Awakening. It's a funny title because first off, Zelda isn't even in this game.
It's Marin.
Secondly,
or Marin.
You don't even play as Link. You play as a guy
Terran.
called Blanca. And there's Mario characters everywhere and evil Kirby. And get this, the entire game takes place inside of a fish's dream.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
always telling you guys about how
the Yoshi egg.
More video games where the
Was it like the windfish or something like that?
thing
I forget what its name was. The whale.
Dream. This game not only delivers on that very specific request, this game invented the fishing minigame. The remastered
Really?
have this plastic sheen suggesting
Is that
of
true?
a child playing with toys. The houses are full of little details that color in the person living there, and even though this
there was one thing about this game that I really enjoyed, and it was the subquest which I guess you needed to do to actually complete the main story. The barter quest. You'd have to find different NPCs throughout the world. You started with one item. I forget what it was. Maybe it was a bow tie or something like that. And you'd have to go find whatever NPC needed that specific item, and they'd trade you for something else, and then you'd have to go find another NPC, and so on and so forth. I enjoyed that subquest a lot. I don't know what it was about it, but it was very satisfying to me.
The game has a great soundtrack. It is almost never referenced in subsequent games, further reinforcing its uniqueness.
Right. The main point of this game was collecting instruments in all the dungeons, right? To wake up the fish.
Cited Twin Peaks as one of his major inspirations here. The
Didn't
world
know that.
of Koholint is dreamlike and mysterious, but populated by
Koholint.
villages full of oddball characters.
Oh yeah, this
And
guy.
there's an owl.
You'd call him.
Even stranger, the plot of this game is very similar to David Lynch's later film, Mulholland Drive.
Going back to what he said before, how you could get lost in this game, you also had that old guy that you could call on the phone and he'd give you a hint, which is unlike any of the other Zelda games that I've played where they wouldn't give you that hint. But I guess it was easier to get stuck in this one, especially on that quest, like I said, the barter quest. But it is easy enough to just explore the whole world and then find out where you need to go. I see what he's saying though about that about the game being easy to get lost or confused in, because thinking of the other most recent Zelda game that I played, Skyward Sword, I feel like there was no points in which you were unsure of where you needed to go. You kind of had a clear direction the whole time, whereas in this one you may have needed to do a little of exploring on your own to figure out your next objective, pretty much.
Most Zelda games hinge on a battle between good and evil, where your goal is to save the world. But in
My
Link's
favorite game of all time.
You gradually discover that your goal this
Ocarina of Time,
is to
baby.
destroy the world. If Link doesn't wake up from the dream, he'll drown in the
Right.
ocean. But if he does, this entire world that you've come to know will cease to exist. What's tragic is how the world makes such a big impact on the player without slamming you with reams of dialogue. Link has a little girlfriend that wants to be a sequel. He wins a Yoshi doll for a baby.
Oh,
He
that's
trades a
what it started
alligator
with.
can of dog
Started with the
food for a
Yoshi doll.
banana. The mayor of Sim City gets catfished by a goat. Wart from Super Mario Bros. 2 is holding an underground concert. You crawl into a crypt to resurrect
the
a
chicken.
legendary chicken.
Yeah.
Where Twin Peaks was often dark and ominous, Zelda doubles down on jokes and humor, burying its darker elements much deeper.
This guy was such a dumbass.
Just like a dream, Link's awakening can be bizarre and illogical. Koholint Island may be the most idyllic place Link has ever been, but sometimes
This was a fun game.
the thing you have to do is the last thing you want to do, like waking up and getting out of bed. And that's why this is my
Relatable.
favorite Zelda story.
That's a bold statement. Favorite Zelda story? I need to think about that. Is it, was that it? Oh, and it does the white background with the black text this time. I don't think I've ever seen him not do the black background. That was incredible. Zelda and Dunkey together. I mean, what more can you expect from one of the GOATs? He said that this was his favorite Zelda story. And let me think of the Zelda games that I've played, like Ocarina of Time, Breath of the Wild. Okay, gameplay aside, I guess, and world exploration aside, what were those stories? Like the Ocarina of Time story. I kind of like the Ocarina of Time story as well. You had Saria, and you had Zelda, and you had Impa doing all the classic things. Although when I was a kid, I didn't actually know what the hell was going on in that story. I only knew later on in life when I went back and replayed that game. Breath of the Wild, I mean, the story was kind of as well. You had the king, the big king guy, and then you had Zelda, and then Calamity Ganon. Yeah, okay, I can get behind this game having the best story. Actually, Skyward Sword story was pretty decent as well. But, yeah, okay. Alright, I agree. It took me a second there, Dunkey, but I after some deliberating, I agree with you. This one probably has the best Zelda story that I've played. Yeah, let me know what you guys think, though, about that. Which is your favorite Zelda story? Which is your favorite Zelda game? And leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Drop a sub if you want to see some more stuff like this in the future. And leave those recommendations for me in the comments. Other content creators, more Dunkey, you know what it is, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Got more heat on the way, you know what I'm saying? All right, peace for real stuff.